Hey everybody, and welcome to another Hands Occupied video tutorial. I'm Heidi, the blogger behind Hands Occupied, and today I am going to show you how to do one of the funnest, and I think once you get used to the technique, easiest ways to do vertical stripes of color in knitting, which is two-color brioche. Specifically today, I'm going to show you guys a two-color brioche rib. So on this little sample here, this is the knit stitches are in this blue color and the purl stitches are in orange, and this is what the outside looks like. And then if you look at the inside, if we can turn it a little on my double pointed needles here, it looks like the opposite. So the colors are inverted on the inside versus the outside, but there's no wrong side to this two-color brioche rib, which is what makes it great. On my needles here, I have 30 stitches cast on in an old Norwegian sock style cast on. You might also know this cast on as a German twisted cast on or an elastic long tail cast on. Since we're working with brioche, which is very stretchy as a fabric that you knit, you might want to consider a stretchy cast on like this to start. So I've done, like I said, my 30 cast on stitches, and I've distributed them evenly over 4 double pointed needles. I've got alternating 8 and 7 stitches all the way around. And I've placed this stitch marker, this little jump ring style stitch marker, my favorite, right here to mark the beginning of the round. So to lock in our working in the round shape on this two-color brioche, I'm going to knit 1 stitch, because that's the first thing you do this round anyway. Knit 1 stitch, and that locks in your needles so they're working in the round. And as always, when you work in the round, make sure your cast on isn't twisted. Otherwise, you'll be knitting in a Mobius shape that will cave in on itself at a certain point, and then you'll have to tear it all out, which is the worst. So I've done my knit 1 stitch, I've got my stitch marker, I've locked this into the round. Next, I'm gonna grab my 5th double pointed needle, and we've knit 1, so next we will yarn over and slip 1. And this round, this first round, we're working in the same yarn as our cast on color, and this is the only time you work this foundation round for the two-color brioche. So we've knit 1, yarn over, and slipped 1. Now we'll continue doing that all the way around. And we'll end our round with one last knit 1, yarn over, and slip 1. Now we're ready for the second round and color 2 of our two-color brioche rib. The first 2 to 3 rows in brioche rib involve just a wee bit of juggling. You're gonna have a few tails laying around, and I'm doing this American style. Continental looks very different, so you might want to find a tutorial for continental style if that's how you knit. But that being said, I find this pretty easy to do American style too. You just have to remember where all your tails belong. So that last yarn over means that our blue yarn, our color A yarn, is just gonna hang out over here. Now we're gonna grab our color B yarn, which is bright orange, so hopefully you'll be able to see pretty well what's going on. And so instead of starting on a knit stitch like we did in that first round, we're gonna start with a yarn over of color B. And so I just grab a little bit of that yarn with a tail and fold it right over the needle after the stitch marker. So we're starting on the yarn over. Make sure again you're using your working yarn and not your tail. So we've got that yarn over, which you can see right there. Yarn over, slip 1, and then we will bring the tail, the working yarn tail to the front, and then we will brioche purl 2 stitches together. And I'm about to switch my needle here. So we did yarn over, slip one, and brioche purl 2 stitches together. So the yarn over and the slip from before are getting purled together, brioche style. Let me show you that again. Yarn over, slip one, brioche purl. And one more time, yarn over, slip one, yarn to the front, to brioche purl. Then we'll keep working that yarn over, slip one, brioche purl all the way around. And when I get to the end, I will show you what to do with that loose color A tail. And as we come around to the last few stitches of our round, we're going to need to make sure that that working blue yarn, our main color, is still over the needle. So see how that's over the needle? Then we're going to keep working with that yarn over, slip, brioche purl, and then one final yarn over, slip. And yes, it's a brioche purl, but make sure that that tail gets locked in back when you go to do that final brioche purl. Slip your stitch marker and you're ready for the next round. For round 3 of the 2-color brioche, we're back to color A. To recap, we've just done the second round, ending with a brioche purl catching that color A tail. Now we've got to catch the color B, the first yarn over we did with color B. We've got to catch that along with that first color A loop, and we're going to brioche knit those two together. And it's not really a knit two together, it's just a brioche knit. I just always think of it as two together, I guess because I haven't been doing brioche for a million years. So that was the brioche knit. Now, still working with color A, yarn over, slip one. And for the rest of the round, it's all the same. It's brioche knit, yarn over, slip one. Brioche knit, yarn over, slip one. And I do have a terrible habit of working to the end of my needles and ending up with only 3 instead of 4. Luckily that works out in this case because there's not a lot of stitches on here on these 3 needles. So to continue the round, brioche knit, yarn over, slip one, brioche knit, yarn over, slip one. And you can see how much easier, based on my like shaky juggling that you've been watching throughout this video, that once you get through those first 2 rounds of the brioche rib, your life gets a lot easier. And just like anything else in knitting, practice makes perfect. So just keep at it. The resulting 2-color, super stretchy, super funky fabric, depending on the color you use, you can get real funky or you can go a little subtle with neutrals if you want. The resulting look of the vertical stripes without having to do stranded color work is really fun, and I just think there's so many applications for this great rib stitch. And just like the end of that first round, we're going to end with a loose yarn over and a slip and slip that stitch marker. Now, round 4 of the brioche rib is just like 2. So for the rest of the length of this brioche rib that you're working, you're simply going to alternate rounds 2 and 3 as demonstrated. So we're back to the orange color B, yarn over, slip 1, brioche purl, yarn over, slip 1, brioche purl. Grab another needle if you need it. And just like the first time we worked the orange round, you're still going to end that everything evenly ends up being yarn over slip on brioche purl, but just make sure to have that blue yarn in back when you work that final brioche purl. Slip your stitch marker, and then we're back to color A with the brioche knit, yarn over, slip 1. And again, it gets, after those first 2 rounds, I mean, you can even see me juggling my needles and whatnot. I'm also a little nervous, so I'm kind of shaky. Sorry, guys. But you can see just how easy, and just like any other rib, this 2-color brioche rib becomes after you get through those first couple rounds. And of course, you won't be sitting here trying to keep your shot in focus, talk, and demonstrate all at the same time. So I'm definitely in kind of a patting my head and rubbing my tummy sort of a situation. But hopefully this video is useful for you. And if you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to leave a comment. You can leave a comment on my blog, handsoccupied.com. Or you can leave a comment on this video. And don't forget to subscribe for even more tutorials like the old Norwegian sock cast on I used in this cast on for this 2-color brioche rib. And give us a like if you like the video. And thanks so much for watching.